What's going on YouTube? It's me, your boy Dommy, aka the Yugioh, and today I wanted to present to you my Tribrigade Zoodiac deck profile, which I attended the German Extravaganza and got an X-3 record. So there were 8 rounds, that means I went 5-3. Like always, I'm just one win off toppings, but I actually got 40 second place, and I tied points with every player up to the 28th place. So in theory, I would be at the top 32, but my tiebreak was just a little bit worse than the others. And yeah, so I would say let's just head up right into the deck profile. Beginning with the hand traps, I decided to play 3 Ashes, which is just one of the most generic hand traps there is. It's good versus every deck. Then I have 3 Droll and Lockbirds. I actually did expect a lot more Drytrons than there were actually, because I would think there were just like 16 Drytron players in 156 total players. So this card was just not performing like I wished it would be, but I expect still some Drytron players. So Droll is just really good versus Drytron, and obviously Dragon Link had a really big fall of tendency from the players. I think there were just like 6 Dragon Link players at the whole event, which is very, very few in comparison to the last events we had. Then I had 3 Phantasmates. So this card is actually quite interesting because even though I know that a lot of players do play Desires in this deck, and I can totally understand why, but I don't know, I just hate Desires so much, and I figured I need another draw engine, so I went for Phantasme and Triple Tactics Talent, and this card won me so many games. This card won me like at least 4 of the matches in total. This card overperformed so hard. I will play this card every time I play Zoo Tribrigade. But yeah, Phantasma is just here because I expected a lot of Tribrigade as well. And obviously, almost every card in their extra deck, except for the few Zoodiac cards, is a Link monster. So he get actually a lot of use. And also there were a lot of Shadow Invoke players, so if you have it when they do their first Link summon, it's fine, otherwise it's just an easy side-out target. Next up is 2 Bell. I tested this card in expectation that it's good versus Drytron and it's good versus Shadow Invoked at some point, and it's good versus Zoo Tribrigade because it can hit Revolt. But in all honesty, this card was so underwhelming. I think I resolved it once and it didn't do anything. So this card would definitely be a hand trap I would cut. I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it's doing too much. I know some people are still testing it, but I wasn't happy with this card. Next up, we got to the Tribrigade core, and I think this is obviously still one change that is not standard, but standard is still 3 Fractal, 2 Keras, and I opted to play only 2 kits. The reason for that is I believe most players play 3 kits because they play Desires, so they always have access to these cards. And since I didn't play Desires, I was thinking that I'm totally fine with 2 of them and then just 3 Nerval. And I need to say, Kit is, in my opinion, the worst Tribrigade in the instance that it's with Keras the only one that doesn't do anything. Like you have, if you just open with Kit, you normal summon it, you put it in Grave and link summon into Almirage, and you can search with Nerval after that. But if you don't have another Tribeast monster in hand to special summon Keras, this card alone is just doing nothing, and so is Keras. So these 2 are, in my opinion, the 2 worst. This can work if you have another Tribeast in hand, like a Zoodiac, or just another dead Tribrigade, and this card alone is just bad. So I think this is pretty standard till here. The standard 3 Zoodiacs, Ram, Whiptail, and Rapier. Normal summon Rapier plus a Tribrigade in hand is just full combo. So there it is, and it's easy access to Zeus. So most of the time, if you go first and you do the red peer combo, you just use Tiger Mortar, Trident, Chaka 9. So what you have left is Bobo and Zeus, so you can still make Zeus with 2 materials to wipe the board once. Another card I played is Called by the Grave. Some people don't. I like this card a lot, even though going first and second. Against Drytron going second, it came in clutch, which negated the Eva in opponent's standby phase, in my standby phase, and they hadn't anything to negate the Called by. So I just had to play versus 1 orange light, which helped a lot. Next up, I mained 2 Cosmic Cyclones, and after the tournament, I am pretty happy I did, because I faced 3 Shadow Invoked matches and 2 Eldritch. So some back row removal in main was actually pretty nice. But the first idea to main these 2 is just because I feared that with Dino and Scrap Raptor becoming more popular, that they're maining Mystic Mine to stall out the game, because they will be able to OTK with Mystic Mine and stop my entire board. So I just wanted to have a main deck out to Mystic Mine. Then we have the standard 3 tanky, Searches, Fractal, and Zeus. There's nothing to say about. And then we have the talents, and I need to say I love this deck so much more. I love this card so much more than Desires. In all honesty, the best game was versus 1 Shadow Invoke player, and he only had access to the Dogmatica package, which was very good for me. He had Nadir, sent the Ebb Cologne, I had Ash for that. Then he had Ecclesia Search, and then we went both in beatdown mode because we didn't draw any engines, and at one part I was able to normal summon Fractal. He chained Lancea in hand to the summon. I took his Fleur-de-Lis and I attacked for game. So I think this card is so good and I would play it always. Then we have the 1 Barrage, standard for Zoodiacs, and then 2 Ice Dragon's Prison. And in all honesty, this card underperformed as well. I was expecting this card to be somewhat good, but not as impactful like Revolt and Strike. That's why I put it at 2. And in hindsight, I would say I would cut this card altogether, completely cut it. I think the only time it actually mattered was that I was able to banish 2 Golden Lords of an Eldritch player, and I don't think that this is actually too worth playing at the moment. Maybe a side deck for the right matchups, but this card, I didn't like it. I would rather have some maybe Beast in main, or maybe, I don't know, another hand trap. Then we have the 3 Solemn Strikes. This is the only counter trap I main deck, because I think it's okay going second. It's pretty good going first. And the actual life point cost of this card is not too hard to put you in danger of getting OTK'd. So I had one game that I side decked the Judgment, and this was versus the Drytron player, and I just drew Strike and 2 Judgment and no real engine cards. I think I drew Whiptail, and yeah, that's just nothing. So I was able to stop his turn altogether. Next turn I was able to set up a little bit, and then he top tagged his Red Eyes Fusion, and his pops were just a game because Judgment put me in range of killing. And then we have 2 Revolt. I think Revolt is still fine at 3, because if you open it in your opening hand, you are not forced to go into Bear Broom and can just do other plays like Double Dragon Lords and Appaloosa and still have your Revolt. And if you don't have it, you just do Bear Broom and go into Appaloosa or something. So I would still main it at 3, even though Bear Broom can search it now. But I don't want to rely only on Bear Broom. So this card is just the best card in this deck. No doubts about that. Yeah, my English is on fleek today. Let's go to the Exo deck. We obviously have the 4 standard Zoo cards: Bobo, Chaka 9, Trident, and Tiger Mortar, and then we have the Zeus. actually made Zeus like twice the whole tournament, because most of the time I was just able to go first and set up a board so that my opponent can't play. And then I just did the Doom Eagle access code talker play and went for game. So Zeus actually never came up, even going seconds. It wasn't just too good, because most of the time they had a bounce or a strike for the Bobo, and then I had no Xyz monster to battle. So of course Zeus is a strong card, but for me it never came up. I was just able to play with the Tribrigade engine and was very happy with that. Then we have the access code talker, obviously for OTKs, and with Doom Eagle we have can go for game in just 2 summons, and access code talker being the 3rd summon. So just imagine you have 1 Tribrigade in hand, you have your Shurek from the opponent's turn summoned with rerolled, and then you just go normal sum any of the Tribrigades, use the effect to go into Doom Eagle. If you want, you can shuffle 1 opponent's monster in the graveyard back to the main deck, and then just link these 2 into access code talker, and then you have access code plus Shurek, which is like almost every time game. Obviously we have the double Dragon Lords, we have the Appaloosa, like I said, the Doom Eagle. The 1 Almi Rush could potentially be changed to something else, but I figured if I just open Nerval or Kids, I want a Link monster to go into to trigger their effects in graveyard. So I kind of like this, and it also protected one time my Shurek from being destroyed, so that was still fine. I only play 1 Bear Room because in just the theory I had for this deck, I want to recycle it every turn with revolt, search another revolt, and go on like this. So I tried to hard summon it as often as possible, which worked out quite well. Then we have the Ferriget. Ferriget is for me just the, I don't know, it's just a random Link 2 monster I can use for the Tribrigades to go on. So this is just an extender. So if you have, I don't know, you start with Fractal and 1 other Tribrigade in hand, use Fractal, put all your 3 monsters in grave, normal summon 1, use the effect to go into Baron Blossom, and then use the other effects to go into, I don't know, double Dragon Lords and Shurek. Not Shurek, sorry, the Rugal was its name. So yeah, and the summon draw 1 effect was actually one time pretty funny. I used the effect with no cards in hand just to see what I got. And my top deck would be a Whiptail, and my opponent had no negation, so this would have been a free Zeus, and at that point actually with 4 materials, because I didn't use the Rapier combo yet, and it could potentially save the game for me, but I drew another card which actually won me the game at that point too. Then we have the 1 Rugal. It's just a generic Link 3 for the Tribrigade archetype, which is pretty nice. The summon back 1 card came up once, which was pretty nice, and the attack drop just never came up. And then we have 2 Shureks, just the best Tribrigade there is. Let's go to the side deck. We have 2 Alpha Beasts. This is pseudo like 2nd and 3rd Pancratops for going 2nd, just generic cards I can always use. Beast is also in Out to Dragoon, for example. It's a big beat stick which helped too, and I don't know, these 3 cards I sided in going 2nd almost every game, and even over Dark Ruler. I think I sided Dark Ruler like twice the whole tournament, and would focus more on these cards, and they were just amazing. I love these cards so much. Then we have the 3 Lancea. Obviously for the mirror match, I only played 1 mirror match, and this was one of my only losses, so happens, I would say. And also it could be okay versus Dragon Link and Shadow Invoked, but I think it was one time really good versus 1 Shadow player. I'm not quite sure. Then we have the 3 Dark Ruler Domo, just a generic card to out combo decks. I actually didn't draw it, so this was never resolved. But yeah, it's a good card. And I chose this over Droplet because I wanted to keep a card advantage in hand. And this doesn't need any cards from your hand like Droplet. And yeah, that's why I chose this over Droplet. Then we have 3 Twin Twisters, obviously in tandem with the Cosmic Cyclones to have something for back row. Actually faced, like I said, 2 Eldritch players and 1 Guru player. So having 5 back row removals was just amazing. And then for going first, it's just a generic counter trap. It's Solemn Judgment. I wasn't too happy with this card. In all honesty, I kind of would like to have another hand trap in here. Like I said, I would cut the Ice Dragons, I would cut the Bell, maybe add an Imperm, which would be pretty good in this tournament. But yeah, other than that, I was pretty happy with this list. And I think that finishes the list. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. I'm more happy to answer you and keep in touch with you guys. It's pretty nice. So in the last few videos I uploaded, there were a lot of people commenting. Well, not a lot of people, but for me, there were a lot of people, and this was just really great interacting with you guys. So I would say smack the like button if you enjoyed this video. Maybe subscribe for my channel and stay for a while so we all can be friends. And I would say have a nice day. Bye.